Hey guys, Canon Teague with Teague Tractor. Today we're going to go over the entry-level residential models from Gravely. Alright, so the first model we're going to start out with is going to be the ZT. This is going to come in 3 deck options. It's going to come in, like you see here, a 42-inch deck. It's going to have a 34-inch deck option as well as a 52. So 34, a 42, and a 52. The deck on the 34-inch is going to be a 12-gauge stamp deck, so it is a stamped material. On the 42, it's going to be an 11-gauge fabricated deck. On the 52, it's 11-gauge fabricated as well. So that covers our decks. In terms of transmissions, on the ZT, you're going to have a serviceable EZT transmission from Hydra Gear. So that's going to be their entry-level residential transmission. And see that on a lot of different brands, but that's what this is coming with. Engine, it's going to be Kawasaki only, and it's going to start out in the 34 and the 42-inch deck. It's going to have an 18 horsepower. It's going to be the FR600V. On the 52-inch option, you're going to go up a little in horsepower. It's going to be a 21.5 horsepower. It's going to be the FR651V. So a little bit of an upgrade in the horsepower. All Kawasaki engines. Feature-wise, going to be your standard residential bucket seat, so nothing crazy, anything like that for this price point. Your deck adjustment, it's going to be this lever system down here. So you'll press with your foot, and it uses that lever and an indent notch to raise and lower our deck height. Parking brake, you're going to find over here on the right-hand side. Nothing fancy or crazy with the handles here. They have some level of adjustability, but it's not going to be anything major like you'll see on some of these other bigger units. In terms of features, that's really going to cover it. Your fuel capacity on it is going to be 2 gallons. That'll be through the 34 and the 52-inch deck models. So that's what we're looking like in the ZT for Gravely. Next one we're going to talk about is the ZTX. All right, next model up, we're going to move to the ZTX. So ZT would be their first entry-level model. Second model up is going to be the ZTX. Deck sizes, we're going to have a 42-inch, a 48, and a 52. So you are going to get 3 deck sizes, but they're going to be different. It's going to start at the 42, go up to a 52. Engine sizes, you're going to be the same class. It's the FR series. You're going to start with a 21.5 horse FR651. On the 52-inch deck, you're going to bump up to the 23 horsepower 691V. So your engine options are going to be similar, but you're going to start at that 21.5 horsepower range. Transmission is still the serviceable EZT, so no difference in your transmission. Really what you're going to see in terms of differences between the ZT and the ZTX are going to be features. So your deck adjustment, as opposed to your handle with the indentations for your deck sizes, you're going to move to this pin system. So you press with your foot, adjust the pin, and lower the deck in that fashion. Seat is going to be a high back seat with armrests, so it is going to be a significant upgrade in terms of comfort on the seat as compared to your bucket seat on the ZT. You're also going to get really adjustable steering arms, and they are also, your parking brake is going to be in the handles. So when your handles are out, the parking brake's on. When we bring the handles in, your parking brake comes off. You're also going to have a step on the deck. You're going to have LED lights in the front. Really, those are the main differences. I would say the biggest difference in terms of the deck sizes, it is fabricated on this model, and it's an 11-gauge stamped steel. You're going to have this slope front design with a leading edge, and it's going to be their X-Factor deck. So a little bit more airflow and grass dispersion is going to be increased on the X-Factor deck as opposed to your standard ZT. So that's the difference when we move up from the ZT to the ZTX. Next, let's talk about the ZTXL. All right, so now we're in the ZTXL. So this is going to be the third model up. So start with the ZT, go to the ZTX, and then we have the XL. Really, where the difference are going to be is in the transmission. And we look at the cost or the value that you're getting when you move up to the XL. You're really going to see that in your transmission more so than anything else on the machine. Starting with deck sizes, you're going to be a 42, a 48, a 52. Last year's model, they did have a 60, so that model's discontinued for this year. So you're going to top out at the 52-inch deck on this model. Same X-Factor deck as you're going to get on the X model. So it is going to be an 11-gauge fabricated deck. So going to have the slope front with the leading edge welded on. And like I said, 42, 48, 52 in terms of your deck sizes. You're going to get a floor mat. You're going to get the same lights. Really, the difference between the XL and the X is going to be the floor mat and the deck lock. So that feature allows you to set your deck height, and then essentially you just raise and lower the deck with your foot. So you're not really adjusting the cut height unless you need to. You essentially go from your cutting height back up to your transport mode by pressing the pedal and using the deck lock. So that's an added feature that you're going to get in the XL model. Transmission is the big difference, like I talked about. We go from the EZT transmission to a Hydrogear 2800. So this is the first transmission they make that's going to have external serviceable filters. So we see a lot of guys gravitate towards that like to service their own stuff. This is going to be the first model that you can really do a lot of that yourself. Engine options, you're going to be really similar. You're going to be that FR691V, so that 21 and a half, or excuse me, 23 horsepower engine. So engine size does go up slightly, still same category. It's the FR series. Fuel tank, same capacity as the X. So the ZT, you start at that 2 gallon. The X model, you go up to the 3.5 gallon. The XL, you're also going to have a 3.5 gallon tank. Other than that, feature-wise, you're identical, other than the floor mat, the deck lock, and the transmission like we talked about. So that really covers the XL. We'll go into a summary and discuss where we see acre-wise people gravitate to each model. All right, to summarize the difference between these models, we already talked about all the features. When we have folks come through the door and they're looking at these three models, really how we boil this down into the decision-making process is their acre limit that they're going to mow. So someone that's coming in that's looking for that 0 to 1 acre mark, the ZT is going to be totally fine for that. So those small residential, subdivision lots, where you're going to be in that average size of a quarter an acre to 3/4 of an acre, the ZT is going to be totally fine for that. More than capable, albeit the 34-inch is a stamped deck. That size of yard, we statistically don't see people putting a lot of wear and tear on a mower. That would be my only gripe with the ZT model, would be that it comes in a stamped deck at the 34. But that's going to be most brands. Most brands in this category, it is going to be a stamped deck. So the 42-inch is a great option to get into the fabricated deck. So for those acres, 0 to 1, we're going to look at the ZT model. You're going to fit within that wheelhouse. Pricing on the ZT, all the prices I'm going to quote are going to vary. So talk to your local dealer, see what they're selling it for. The prices I'm quoting are a cash discount price. So if you're going to finance, typically you're going to see a little higher price to get into those 0% APR programs. So cash prices here. The ZT is going to start at that $37.99 mark. Okay, so that's going to be for the 34-inch. You're going to go up a little bit to the 42. On the ZTX, so where we see people bump into this model, this is going to be that 0 to 2 acres. So you get about an acre bump when we get into the ZX. Again, it's not going to be different on the transmission, but it is a little bigger frame. It is a little bit more durable deck. The slope front with the grass dispersion allows you to cut a little bit more and keep those temperatures lower. So you're going to go up to that 2 acre mark for your max. Pricing on this guy, we're going to start at $42.99. Again, cash price there, and check with your dealer on availability and pricing. But $42.99 is what you're going to see us at the lowest price point sell the ZTX for. Our XL that we talked about in the rear, that is going to be that 0 to 3 acres. So again, going up to that Hydrogear 2800 transmission is where that extra acres coming from. It allows you, with the serviceable filters, keeping the temperatures and being able to handle higher temperatures for a little bit longer. That ZTXL is where you'd want to look if you're in that 2 to 3 acre range and you want to keep your prices as low as possible. On the ZTXL, our price, we're going to start at a cash price at $51.99. So again, check with your dealer, see what they're going for. $51.99 if you buy it from us. So that pretty much sums it all up. Gravely is a great brand. They're made in Wisconsin, been around for 100 years. For a residential machine, we have great success with these. Customers tend to really like them. They come with a lot of features on them that most people appreciate, and that really covers. So the ZT through the ZTXL, so anything from 0 to 3 acres, one of these models will fit the bill for you. Reach out if you have any questions. Contact information is in the description. Check out our other videos, and like I said, if you want us to review something or do an overview on something that we haven't done before, tell us and we'll do it. Thanks for watching.